Welcome to another Overcome. In today's episode, I'm going to talk with someone that I met some years ago during the Transformation Challenge. I always knew this person was very self driven just because her approach during the entire process of changing. And when I heard about her injury and how painful it was, and how she was able to come back with such a great spirit and doing things that she loved to do, I just said, Krista, I really need you at the show to give your testimony. So let's get it started. All right, Krista Gray, how good it is to have you here. Thank you very much for taking the time to record this.
Yes, thanks for having me.
I was just introducing you and said that I met you during the Transformation Challenge and some years ago, and how I always noticed that you were always self-driven and you were doing everything that you could to achieve those goals during that time. And the great thing is that you kept going. You actually used that time to create some knowledge about things, and you kept going. It was beautiful. A lot of people, they were not able to use that momentum to keep going, but you kept going.
Yeah, it was a good challenge. Lots of great people.
Yeah, awesome. Now, today, we are here. The whole theme of this podcast is around overcome. And when I heard about your injury, I was really impressive that not so much of the whole problem. Of course, it was really a huge problem, but more around the way that you handle it. You probably handle way much better than I'm handling mine, so that's why I'm also learning with you. So tell me us a little bit more. Tell us actually a little more about the whole process, how it started, how long it
Mhm.
took for you to really do something, because it was more a progressive injury rather than a one-time injury like it happened to me. It was more progressive. So how did it
Right.
go?
Yeah, so I had just run the Dallas Half Marathon late 2017. That was to be my last. I always loved that race, and that was to be my last race in Dallas before I moved to California. And after I got finished with that race, then I started lifting heavy again. I had entered the bodybuilding.com Transformation Challenge in 2018, with the goal to win it. And I was relocating to California January 1st. So, I had no issues. Running was fine, lifting was fine. The day that I left, I drove to California when I relocated. The day that I left, I had a heavy leg day that morning because I had to get the one workout done with all the people at the
Hmm.
gym before I said
Yep.
goodbye, and did that, and then got in the car and sat for 8+ hours driving
Oh, you
over a
actually drove to
period.
California.
I did,
Wow.
yeah, 3.5 days worth.
Wow.
So, I was sitting for a long time, for multiple days. And, it's possible that I already had some kind of an injury, back thing going on, disc problem. As athletes, I feel like everybody's had a tweak in their back at one time. And, I had tweaked my back several times over the years, deadlifts particularly. And but I hadn't had any real issues with it. So when I got to California, I noticed that I had this pain in my glute, and it was something that I hadn't felt before. And I'm very conscious of my body and the signals that it's giving me, and thought, okay, well, that's kind of
But
weird.
but it
Let
was the
me
pain activated only in certain movements, or it was like
No,
constant?
constant.
Constant.
It was constant pain. Yeah. So I thought, okay, let me stretch, foam roll, do all the stuff. I was still going to the gym, still doing cardio, as well as moving. So, I was moving into a townhome there, a two-story townhome, lots of stairs, lots of unpacking, lifting, all of that stuff, very active. And it just wasn't getting better. And I remember kind of towards the end of January, I hung a TV on the wall by myself because I had no limits on myself. I was always able to
Yep,
do
yep.
anything I really wanted to do. It was hard. I had to engineer it because it wasn't light, and I finally got it up there. And the next day, I woke up and I had sciatica pain, and I'd never had that before. And ooh, nerve pain is not fun. So I thought, okay, well, this is interesting. Now what do I do?
So of
And
course,
I had
of
no.
course, you immediately thought it was the TV, right?
Yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I had no doubt about
Hmm.
it. And my low back was kind of aching at that point. I thought, okay, the darn TV, I shouldn't have done that. But it was getting ready for a Super Bowl. Come on. So I had no doctors in California. I was new. I knew people that I worked with, but I knew nobody else. So then I was on a search to find a doctor and went to several, and it was just terrible. So I called my doctor in Dallas, my chiro, and I said, I got a problem here and I'm not sure what to do with it. This doctor here that I've been seeing for a week wants me to get an MRI, but I can't get one for 3 weeks and I'm in pain. So what do I do? So he said, well, come see me.
Oh,
So I
fly
got on
back to
a plane,
Dallas and see me. Wow.
got on a plane, went to see him, got in same day MRI. And it turned out to be a bulging disc, severe bulging disc, very inflamed. And after him just kind of checking me over, he said, let's treat this conservatively because these things can go away with physical therapy, kind of exercises and things, Aleve, ice, that sort of thing. I said, okay, that sounds good. So a couple of
Well,
days
but
later,
did
I went back.
he prescribe anything for the pain at that point, or how did you manage? Because you were in pain all the time, right?
I was in pain, but here's the thing, Yuri. I do not like painkillers at all, and I refuse to take them. I just refuse. I just won't do it.
Even
So he knows me.
if you have to, like it is like extremely painful, you're not gonna take it. Wow.
Mm-mm. No, I'll tell you a little bit more about that. So I have seen too many people just have real issues with those, and still this whole time I needed to be able to focus for work. And sometimes when you're taking those, you're loopy and you're not quite like focused in there. And I just didn't want to go there. I mean, maybe if I absolutely had to, but I didn't this whole time, and it got really bad. So yeah, I went back to California, and within just a few days, my leg was numb from the knee down, and then I had a really big problem. I couldn't drive, um, but I was still trying to get to work because we had like managers meetings and things going on. It was really a busy time. So I was Ubering to work. When I would get to work, the ladies at the front desk would meet me at the door with a chair, and I would push that chair around the office as my kind of walker.
Wow. And that is like you just arrive in California, you just go to physically to the office and all this drama. Oh my God.
Yes. And my Texas sized car wouldn't fit in my garage. So if you didn't get home when I could drive, if you didn't get home like really early, you were walking about a mile to get home. So here's me on a cane, at one point stopping every few steps to rest. It was your worst
Yeah,
nightmare.
I
It
bet you
really
that at that
was.
point you're like already missing Texas.
Yes. I was like, California, great. This is nice welcome you got for me. Yeah, so I called my doctor back up and I said, okay, now I really have a problem. He said, get
Oh
here.
wow.
So of course I finished out my manager's meetings that week, and I think it was on a Thursday. I flew out there and was able to get, he has concierge service, so he got me in to see one of his doctors that Friday, and he suggested steroid injections
Mm-hmm.
just to see
Yep.
if it would help. Because, at that point we have to do something because, the nerves are really damaged and you don't want to let that go on forever. And so I think it was about a week later, I had the first round of steroid injections. And it did help the pain, like the sciatica pain, it reduced that. But the next morning when I got up, it felt like someone had a saw on my ankle bone. It was the worst pain that I have ever experienced in my life. And I couldn't get out of bed. I just laid there and I was just crying.
Wow. And of course, no pain medication.
No pain medication. Absolutely no. Nope. I would rather cry than that.
Wow, you're so brave because I'm I hate pain. I really hate pain. And as much as I try to avoid the pain medication, if I need to, I will take it. And during this
Yeah.
time, I've been taking here and there. It's not good, but I don't know how to deal too well with pain, to be honest.
Yeah, my dad, he had kind of went through a cancer spell, and was he did not do well on those. And I think just seeing that just changed my whole perspective on what I was willing to do and
Yeah,
not
absolutely.
do. So that's probably a large reason. But yeah, I didn't. And gradually that got better after a few days. I was still not, the numbness was still there. And the pain had
So
subsided
at
some.
that point, we
And
are
then I
talking about a month already, or less than a month, like that between the time that you arrive and you have that putting that TV on until this time. That's like a month, or
that's about a month, a little bit over a month. So I think the TV was like end of January, and then my first round of steroid injections was March the
okay,
9th.
couple months, yeah.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah, and then my second round was like 2 weeks later. So, I'm still not really able to move much, still have the numbness. I'm still kind of hunched over, the back is still
Hmm.
not great. So then went in for the second round, and it did take away some of the
Hmm.
numbness, but the numbness, I mean, even to this day, I still have numbness in my foot, which is another reason I'm very surprised that I can run as well as I can, because there is still an issue there.
But you did have
So
surgery,
I did not have surgery, just steroid injections, 2 rounds.
okay? And that was
Yeah, that
enough, or did you do another MRI just to follow up and see how it is?
no, no, I just let it gradually get better. I didn't. I want to do another one. I don't know if I will or not, though. I know the problem is always going to be there. It's just really about managing it. And right now I'm really not limited to what I can do. I would say I don't even know how long the extreme numbness still lasted for a while. I remember, dragging my foot behind me because it was just like, wake up,
Yeah.
foot. Probably a few days after the second round of steroid injections, I started trying to do some walking. The maximum I could go was 3 minutes, because then my foot was feeling like it was burning off. So there's still a lot of nerve things
So
going on
I'm
there.
assuming that
Uh,
between January and March, when you got your first injection, you were completely off of exercise, right?
yep, I was.
How did you deal with that? I know that you are very active. You like to work out. You have a gym in your garage. Very, very active.
Mhm.
So how did you deal with that time that you were completely off?
You know, it was disappointing, and I didn't like it, because that's like my me time in
Hmm.
the morning. But I think really what saved me is it probably took me about 2 hours to get ready in the morning. I couldn't stand, so I had to sit down like on the floor of the shower, and then trying to dry your hair and do all this stuff to get into the office. It was a long ordeal, so I don't think I would have had time in the morning with all of
Well,
that
but
to
you
deal
still
with.
miss
Uh,
the activity, right? You're still
yeah, oh
missing
yeah,
sweating and get
absolutely.
active at the pump
Mhm.
and everything. So that's to me right now is really what is killing me is not having that feeling, because it's kind of you're losing your identity a little bit. It's like who is this guy? I mean, I don't recognize myself anymore, right? I don't have my routine. I don't do the things that I like, and I'm pretty sure you've been through the same thing.
Yeah, and probably it was being in a new place and just all the newness, and every day seemed like just a different
Yeah.
challenge altogether. Probably for me, it was just so much new stuff that maybe the routine was just
Yeah,
altogether
no,
different.
that's a great point because you were experiencing so many changes that not
Yeah,
training it was almost like just another change in that package.
yeah,
Probably if you were in Texas when you had that and you had your normal routine, you have felt more.
yeah, yeah. Because I worked from home, and in California, I was going to
Hmm.
an office. That was completely different for me. So yeah, it probably would have been much worse. Some things would have been better being in Texas. Like I would have had doctors and immediate access immediately. But some things probably
And
would have been
probably you have
worse.
more friends, you have more,
Yeah,
more
yeah,
network here in Texas as well.
yeah. I've been very impressed how you've shared your journey. Just out in the open. You can see my, social media just went into the dark during this
Yes,
time. I
yes.
was,
I didn't even
I,
know that because suddenly you stop
mm,
posting, and
yep.
I see that a lot of people actually use this strategy. I've seen some people that they go dark for months and then they come back.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow I don't feel well. I kind of feel like I like sharing the journey when it's good is when it's bad because sometimes people just like to share the good things and life is not only about the good things, right? It's also about those obstacles that we've been through. I
Mm-hmm.
totally respect people that want to go dark. I think it's also very healthy to sometimes give a break and try to put things together. Then when you are ready to share again, to
Mm-hmm.
me is I planned to do that. I said, well, I'm gonna give a break, but then I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I did journal a lot of it because someday I just kind of wanted to share it. There's, back injuries and back issues are so prevalent. I don't know very many people that haven't had them. So I feel like, I know I was Googling everything, trying to figure out how am I going to get past this? And okay, what about this nerve medicine they want to give me? Let me read on that. And what about these steroid injections? Let me read on
hmm
that. But I think it's good information because there's a lot of people
Yeah,
that suffer with
no,
it.
that's another point because my problem is very unique. It's called the Linz Frank injury, and you don't see a lot. I didn't even know that I had this ligament in my body called Linz Frank, and when I was researching about it, there are very few articles. There are very few testimonies, but the people that had and was sharing, uh, suddenly a lot of other people were making comments on the video, and it was good to understand that it takes time. We are talking about uh, probably 6 months to feel a little like good, feel confidence on
Hmm.
stepping and doing activities. So it's a really long process. So I'm already
Hmm.
prepared for that. Back, as you said, is way more prevalent. A lot of people have back problems, and the one that you had in particular, Bulging Disc, is something that happens a lot with a lot of people, not necessarily even athletes. It happens all the time.
Hmm.
But do you think
Hmm.
that the issue really was the TV, or do you think you already had that problem before and it just aggravated with the TV?
I think I probably already had a problem. The doctor thought that probably the drive compressed my disc, and that's when it got really angry. Just sitting in a car for that long, that over that
Mm,
period of time. The body's supposed to be moving, and I wasn't moving
yeah,
a whole lot. So you'll never really know. I mean, we don't know why these things happen. Like you never expected
yeah.
with your injury, for it just to happen. So I suspect, I could have had a problem, but we'll never know.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that you've done deadlifts, you push, you lift weights, sometimes heavy, and you never had this problem. So
No,
it
no,
sometimes it comes in a most odd way. The TV.
yeah.
I hope that you at least did some kind of a warm up before lifting this TV.
Oh yes, absolutely. Oh yes, always, always. And I'll tell you, I am super anal about what I do now. Warm up, cool down, stretching, physical therapy. Still every day, I
Mm.
do some things because I'm not going to go back there.
Yeah, and I
So
talking from myself, I noticed that 10 years ago I could go to the gym and I could start lifting without even warm up. Today
mhm,
I'm 45. I cannot do this anymore. I
mhm.
need that 15 minutes of warming up. It used to be 5, then it went to 10. Now, really, I feel better with 15. So
Yeah.
age also contributes, at least to me. I felt a big difference when I I moved from the 30s to my 40s. I felt that I needed more of that as well.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've learned over time too. I was training for New York City Marathon in I think it was 2014, and I used to not stretch after my runs. I think I did like 17 miles, didn't stretch, got sat down in my chair to work all day, got up, uh-oh, the back of my knee, what's wrong here? I can't walk. So I've learned over time. It's much
Yeah,
smarter now.
definitely, definitely. And today, let's say, now, this was 2018, you said, or
It was at
yeah. So
2018,
now,
yeah.
moving fast forward 2 years later, do you still feel anything, or you feel like fully recovered?
I do still feel things. Still some numbness in my foot. Occasionally, my back will let me know, hey, you've been sitting for too long, or sometimes I might have a little muscle spasm. If I'm doing any distance over like 8 miles, I will ice my back afterwards, just as precautionary. So it's just I'm just very conscious of it. But I don't think it'll ever be like 100%. But I don't have any limits anymore,
Yeah.
which is
So
good.
when
Um,
was your last race?
Last race, well, I did a virtual one last week, but real race was in March, I guess. No, I did one in June. I think we had a semi-real race. I don't know if we call these 2020 races real or not, though. Yeah,
How
so
many miles?
just the longest distance I've done is a 10K.
After
As
the
far as race
injury?
after the injury, yeah, that was November 2019.
And how did you
Yeah,
feel? Yeah.
I felt good, really good, really strong. I placed, I think, third place in my age group.
Wow,
So
that's
yeah,
amazing. That's
really
amazing.
good.
Yeah.
hmm Yeah, it's interesting because my back was weak for a long time. Really, I think until I built back up my core and my glutes to really
Mm-hmm.
protect things. Even when I got back to California after the steroid injections, I was walking pretty good. I tweaked my back two more times, and I would be like having to work from home again because I felt like after that whole injury, a tweak in the back was no longer just a little tweak. It was like, okay, you're down for the count for. So, I was just like I'd get better and then set back,
Did you do
and then I think so.
Yeah, did you do any specific strengthening exercise for hamstring, glutes, and just to make those areas stronger?
Yes, a lot of it was just body weight as I got better. Kind of some of the physical therapy exercises that they gave me. But I have not had a problem. I'm going to touch wood here since um, December 2018 was the last time I kind of tweaked it a little bit. And then, coming into 2019, in about March is when I started trying to kind of push the weights a little bit. Now, when I would do squats, I would put one of those stability balls on my back and roll down the wall with it. So there was no chance I was going to have any
Hmm.
bad form. So just really modifying things, but trying to get things
Right.
strengthened. And then I think it was probably late April 2019 when I decided I was going to start trying to jog. I was feeling strong enough, the numbness had gone away enough that I was just going to see if I could do it. So I do like 1 minute jog, 1 minute walk,
Hmm.
gradually try to build up. And then by end of May 2019, I ran my first competitive 5K and I won my age
Wow,
group.
amazing.
That's when I finally got confidence that, what, I can do
Was that
this.
race in
Like I can,
California?
no, it was
Okay,
in Texas.
that's
hmm
amazing. That's very inspiring. Very inspiring story to be able to recover and come back way stronger, because as you said, you feel way stronger now than you were
I do.
when you move it.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I feel stronger now, better now, even with running than I did even before the
Same
injury,
thing with
honestly.
lifting. You will feel stronger lifting.
Absolutely. Yep. And, maybe I'm just taking better care of myself. I'm very cautious of what I'm doing, but I feel really good right now. So I'm going
That's
with it.
great. That's great news. Really, really good news. I've seen your training. I've seen how you've been pushing harder. Your garage is looking pretty amazing. A lot of new equipments. And I think that that's also something that COVID brought to us, is the capability
Yeah.
to start investing in ourselves more, having our own gym. A lot of people went to this direction. I had mine for years, so I was not really too concerned. But a lot of people
hmm
did what you did, is to have a garage, because when you have a home gym, it's really there is no excuse for you to skip a workout. I mean, you wake up in the morning, the first thing you do, you go train, and you're done, right?
Yeah. I actually moved my home gym to California. My treadmill, my step mill, my art trainer, my
Wow.
weights, and I couldn't use it. That was the bad
Yes,
thing.
that's so frustrating.
Yeah, so tomorrow I should be running the New York City Marathon, but COVID had other plans. So that was my big comeback race. Like my, you know what, I've mastered this thing now. But maybe next
Well,
year.
I'm pretty sure that you're gonna have other opportunities. In the meantime, keep working hard, keep leading by example. I know that you are extremely busy at work. You work with security, IT, just like me, and I know that this
Yeah.
field is ongoing. It's crazy. We are always
Yes.
busy all the time, and I really find super cool when someone that is working on this field find times to take care of yourself and make sure that you are active physically because at the end of the day, this is really important to your well-being. And I'm feeling that right now that I already 42 days without training and counting every day the day that I'll be able to go
Hmm.
back. So
Yeah. It's just going to be sweeter when you do. And, honestly, between lifting, being active, it's made me a stronger person. I mean, it has done nothing but help my career as well. I know you probably feel that too.
yeah, I'm still. I think a lot of things I will feel when this whole thing is done because sometimes you just
Yeah.
realize what you gain
Yeah.
after you finish, right? You don't
That's
really
right.
realize
Yep.
the benefits as you go through the struggle. Many times you don't because you
Hmm.
just sometimes you just see the pain, the negative, and how tough it is
Hmm.
each day. But then once everything is done and you will look back, it's like, wow, that really was an important journey for myself.
Hmm.
All right, my friend. Thank
What
you very
it
much.
makes you
Thank you
stronger.
very much for again your time. Make sure to keep working hard, doing the great things you do. And it was really a pleasure to talking to you today.
You too, Yuri. Thanks so much for
Thank you.
having
Take
me.
care.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Okay, you too.